Okay, welcome back, folks. Shawn Hart here with my partner in crime, Mr. Wilson Matos. We have a very special webinar presentation lined up for you today with the one and only Tim Chocolate. Folks, he is a legend in his own mind as well as a legend around the Indianapolis area. Tim, I'm going to let you explain to folks how we got to where we're at today and why they're here on the webinar, and then I'll take it over from there, okay?
Okay. Well, obviously everybody knows the world's changed dramatically, and I keep hearing from a lot of customers that, hey, I created this item, I designed this item, I've copyrighted this item, and how do I import stuff from China? Or for 30 years, people asked, how do you do this? Can I go do this? Can I go open up a wholesale operation and do this? And I always said, yeah, open up a wholesale operation and buy from me, and that's what I want them to do. Well, now I'm going to teach you how to do this and show you how to go to China directly. And I've been doing this for many years and been very successful, and I want to see that success be followed with other people. I started helping a few people, and it was the best feeling in the world to really help people and see it come to attrition, where people come up with ideas and are able to buy stuff from China and sell their own merchandise and be able to make that margin today to compete in the world brand. So that's really it in a nutshell. I could go on and on. Everybody knows me. I'm a talker, so I don't want to take the next hour just telling the story. I'll let Shawn get right at it, and we'll dig right in and go from there.
All right, sounds good, Tim. So I will ask you a few questions along the way during the presentation where you can chime in and give us your opinion. But first of all, let me toot your horn a little bit. Now, I first met Tim Chocolate about 21 years ago in 1996 when I walked into his store and was completely floored at the variety of merchandise that Tim was able to put together in a small showroom on the east side of Indianapolis. Now, back in those days, I was a young guy. I was 20 years old, and, I was just cutting my teeth, I guess, so to speak, in the merchandising world. And Tim always, to me, had a knack for knowing what was going to sell next, knowing what the next hot item or hot trend was going to be. And back then, he was doing NASCAR driver plaques. He was doing special printed T-shirts that he was able to sell to Walmart, Target, and Walgreens, among many others. And Tim had about 10 years experience on me, so even though he didn't know this, he was one of my early mentors, and I really molded my business after what he was doing. Although I was more focused on one item at a time and doing it big, Tim did hundreds of different items, had a lot of really good connections, and as you know, he was the founder of Opportunity Buys, which in my opinion, the name Opportunity Buys says it all. I mean, Tim told me at a young age that you make your money when you buy a product, and you can sell anything as long as the price is right. So obviously you have to buy it right in order to sell it right. He's been importing products directly from China for over 30 years now, and obviously been a lifelong entrepreneur. Him and I know a lot of the same people in and around the Indianapolis area. A lot of those folks are gone on now, but Tim has always been a factor since I can remember growing up in the business world around Indianapolis, and has always been sort of the glue that holds everything together locally. He competes with everyone. He also befriends everyone and always had a nose for what was next. In my opinion, Tim's the largest wholesaler in the Midwest in that area. So it's been a long time coming, my friend. Tim, thank you for putting this together. Thank you for allowing me to do the presentation in your honor and for putting these folks together on this webinar. I think they're going to be wowed today. So a little bit about me. My name is Shawn Hart. Some of you, I recognize some of the names in the attendee list here. I've been in the area in Indianapolis ever since I could walk, and recently just moved south because I got tired of the cold weather. I've been selling physical products my entire life. I started out in high school peddling products on the side of the road, literally roadside sales out of a truck. It was fun times back in the high school days. Over 15 years, though, I've been importing product directly from China, and I've been in the direct response marketing area for quite some time as well. These are those annoying late-night infomercials that you see sometimes, or full-page newspaper ads hawking products with a toll-free number. Those are some of my winners. I've been an 8-figure Amazon seller for about 4 years now, selling products using the Amazon platform, which I think in the future Tim is going to make that available to you folks as well, because that's a great place to kick off new products and tap into a major buyer's market that already exists. I've been an e-commerce coach and mentor since 2014. Love sharing opportunities, tactics, and strategies with other people, and like to hear the success stories from those. Also co-founder of Quick Fast Hurry, and like I said, a 20-year friend of Tim Chocolate, as well as a competitor in certain scenarios, and it's been a fun time. Also known as the Roadside King of Indianapolis. I gave myself that name because it sounds kind of tacky, and I like it. But peddling stuff on the street was how I started my business career, and then ultimately ended up doing wholesale like Tim, because when people see you making money, they can't help but want a piece of that, and it's just natural to supply and distribute the product to the folks who want to compete with you and sell alongside of you. So let me tell you a little bit about our compadre here, Wilson Matos. Wilson Matos is a co-founder and COO of Rapid Crush Inc. This is a digital marketing and sales company. He's consulted with Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 companies. He's a software engineer, e-commerce developer, and personal coach and business coach, marketing and sales technology expert. Wilson and I, as a team, have coached over 10,000 Amazon sellers collectively. And these are folks who sell physical products, the same type of things that we're going to be talking about today, but they use the Amazon platform to launch and sell these products. We train hundreds of sellers on sourcing products directly in China, and been talking to Tim Chocolate about this for a couple of years now, showing him some of the success that we've had overseas. And that's why we put this webinar together, because Tim wants to make this same training and these same unique opportunities available to all of you. So like Wilson said earlier, you're in a very unique position and at the right place at the right time. Wilson and I have developed lots of selling strategies, even beyond Amazon, and created a worldwide community of international traders. We have a world-class guided sourcing trip that we host a couple times a year in China, and we bring sellers just like you in from all over the world join us in China to find out how they can source products directly from suppliers there. And we love to teach and share our systems with others out there. So Wilson and I just finished our 5th trip to China last month. It was ended about July 2nd, I guess, started in the end of June, and it was by far the best sourcing trip we had ever hosted. And before we jump into some of the content here, I just want to show you, this is an example of the type of trip that we do. Wilson and I met in China with over 230 clients, just like you, from all over the world, and showed them all of our tricks and all of the tactics that we use to buy product directly from suppliers in China, and how you can too. So our goals for you during this webinar, folks, is to give you a whole bunch of helpful information that you can use right away to immediately make more money in your business, hopefully by buying direct in China. We're going to attempt to answer all of the questions that you have and show you several tips and tactics that we've used to source and identify products and suppliers of those products over the last several years. I hope to unveil any so-called secrets out there that others have been keeping from you. That's where the Q&A is going to come in handy. And I'm going to show you a much, much better way to source your own goods overseas. Here's what we're going to be covering in this webinar. We're going to cover these topics: discovering hot products, and we're going to find out, how does Tim Chocolate always know what's hot? Have you noticed that? Tim always seems to have a nose for what's coming and what's selling, and like these recent fidget spinners and things like that. He's always in the right place at the right time, and it's not by accident, folks. He's trained himself to do that, and we're going to uncover some of those tactics today. We're also going to talk about how to uncover product trends, things that are coming. You want to see what's next? Pay attention here, and I'm going to show you how to do that. We're also going to cover deciding where in the world that you need to go to source your product direct. So China is the obvious place, also known as the world's factory, but there are a lot of other countries out there who specialize in certain commodities. So one of the things you may not realize is that China is actually organized in different industrial zones according to the products. So each area of China specializes in a unique type of product, and we're going to show you how to find that out here real soon. Also, how to find a real factory for your product, because let's face it, a lot of times these middlemen out there are just pretending to be factories when in reality they're purchasing the product directly from the manufacturer and then selling it to you at a markup. Also, we're going to talk about how to negotiate the best deal for your products, how to get terms on your orders. This is one of Tim's specialties. How to avoid being cheated and what not to do. Also, we're going to talk about making that big trip, the first time that you make that trip to China to source face-to-face and toe-to-toe with suppliers. It's going to be exciting. It's really important, folks, that you do business face-to-face when at all possible. I know a lot of you like to drive to Indianapolis and work with Tim, shake his hand, and pay for your product and talk to him about the business. And in reality, that's the best way, the best scenario to be in any type of business, especially when you're buying physical products. We can do a lot through email and things like that, of course, but it's always, always better to do this face-to-face and know who you're buying from and know your product intimately and what you're going to be doing with it. So we're also going to cover real quickly the top 10 mistakes that these do-it-yourself importers tend to make and how not to look like a rookie. This is really important when you're doing business overseas. And we're going to give you an opportunity to join us on our next hosted sourcing trip in China. You're going to join Tim, myself, and Wilson in China and learn these tactics and these strategies hands-on. Pretty exciting, huh? All right, so let's jump in. Our first topic, everyone, and Tim, is going to be discovering hot products. And in my opinion, the best way to do this, and I've been doing this for over 20 years now, is to just go where the crowds are. If you can find out where people are already buying and you go there and find out what it is that they're buying, then you can easily uncover the hot products. All right, and here's 3 places where I like to do this. I like to do this during industry trade shows, okay, and we'll get more specific in a moment. Also, trolling mall kiosks. I like to run around shopping malls and find hot products, and by visiting your local fairs, state fairs, and shows, and things like that. So let's talk about industry trade shows. If you were to do a simple Google search for whatever product you're looking for, in this example, we're going to talk about baby products. Let's say you want to find out more about the baby products. If you would simply go to Google and search for Baby Products Association and then just click on the results, you're going to see an events calendar and lots of shows that are hosted by associations of baby and toddler products. All right, and then just simply follow the links to what's new. So here's an example. I went to Google just because I wanted to find out about baby products. I typed in Baby Products Association. And you're going to see there are lots of results here. We have the BPA, Baby Products Association. We have Juvenile Products Manufacturers Association. We have the Baby Products Association TSNN Trade Show, which is the one that I selected in the bottom here. So if you were to actually visit the website of these trade associations, you're going to find a lot of things. The first thing you're going to find is a calendar of events that's going to show you where all of the industry-specific shows are for that particular product category all over the world. And a lot of times, if you'll follow those links like I did here for the Harrogate International Center, now this show was in March. It's going to be in March of 2018, you can see, but you see the little link here that says what's new. Now, if you're in the baby products category or any type of juvenile products and you want to know what's hot, what's coming up, go here, follow this link, and find out what manufacturers who are part of the association are going to be unveiling at this event. And then that's one way that you can figure out what's going to be next, what's hot. All right? Now let's talk about trolling mall kiosks. Mall kiosk, you may or may not know, is a mecca for hustlers. So if you just go to your local mall and check out those little kiosks, the little carts out in the center, and look for a crowd. Here's the tip. If you see a lot of people crowding around a mall kiosk, you need to find out what that kiosk is selling because all of the people there are voting on that product in real time with their credit cards. That's a great indication, folks, that that product is super hot and that people are willing to part money for that product, part with their money. That's where the hustlers are. These guys in the mall kiosks are really short-term tenants. They're paying high rent, per square footage, and in most cases they work on commission. They always seem to know what's hot. I'm going to give you an example. This is what we're talking about here, the mall kiosk. If you walk through your local mall there, through the center aisle, and look at these carts, you're going to see who's making money based on who's selling product. Here's an example of the fidget spinner. Now, a lot of you know that Mr. Chocolate, OBI, offered these fidget spinners in recent history. He sold millions of these things. I'll let him tell you the story in a moment. But I want to show you something. I first discovered this fidget spinner back in, let's see, September of 2016. Now, I'm sure that's way, way before any of you seen this product, all right? But that's when it first showed up at the mall kiosks. And at that point in time, folks, a lot of the consumers out there had no idea what a fidget spinner was, let alone what they should do with it. But Tim jumped on this, and he rode this trend all the way up. You can see where it really got kicking in like April, end of April in 2017. What you're looking at here is a simple tool that you can use just as easy as I did, and it's called Google Trends. If you just go to the website, trends.google.com, and put in your search term, what Google's going to do, it's going to show you the amount of search traffic for that particular keyword over time. And then you can sort by worldwide or whichever countries. Now, Tim, I bet you didn't know, buddy, that this fidget spinner was the hottest in Denmark and Sweden, which are the #1 and #2 spots for searches, did you?
No.
Now, how would you know that unless you actually use this tool to check it out? So I think if this still holds true, if you have some fidget spinners left over, this would be a great spot to go advertise those for sale. So tell us about your fidget spinner story, Tim.
Well, just like you was talking about earlier about, when you research these things out and you're too early or too late, and one of the ideal situations to go back on, similar to the spinners, is the Bands Mania, which would be everybody's familiar with the Silly Bands that we did in 2010. We had that item in October of 2009. I was in Tokyo in Japan, and that's where we first noticed this item, and seen a lot of kids playing with it in Japan, and it was just such a craze there. The next day I flew to Shenzhen, China, which is an area where I knew this product would be made at. Went in there and found a factory, set a factory up that day, and we brought that item back and showed it at a show. No success. We had that item all through Christmas 2009, no success. We were at the ASD show in Las Vegas in February, absolutely took the item off our table with no success. And then my daughter Athena called and said, "Dad, we just got an order for 10,000 of these packs of the bands." And I said, "Wow." So then all of a sudden what happened, we already done our homework. We knew this item was hot. This item was hot in other countries. And one day in North Carolina, there was a news story, kind of like the Oprah effect, did a news story on it. Around February, about the day or two, we were actually at the trade show. This thing went viral and got hot. And from that day on, we were, that item, we did about $1 million a month for the next 3 months. I think actually by the time it was all over, we did a little over $4 million in a little over 3 months in March, April, and May of 2010 with the Bands Mania that we were wholesaling for, say $1.25 and to $1.65, and people were retailing these for $5 a pack. And, this is the same example of the fidget spinner where we had this item early. And, we knew the access, we knew the availability, we knew the factories, we had everything set up, we had everything lined up. So when it clicked, we could do this really quick, just jump on it and do it. But the difference now that I'm going to show you is how to take this spinner, instead of paying me the $2 for it, the $2.25, the $2.50 when it is, we're going to show you how to buy this item directly for China for the 35 to 50 cent range that it should have been bought at, and let you just do it yourself now.
Wow, great story, Tim, and yeah, one of your many, many successes. Thank you for sharing that. And this is another one of the places where I find product just like the fidget spinner or something else. When I say fairs and shows, I'm talking about your local state fair, Indiana State Fair or the Marion County Fair, something like that. You'll notice every time you go to one of these events, there's a huge building. I call it the exhibition center or exhibitors hall. And this is where a lot of the guys come and hang out for the week and sell their products. And there's a whole network of these guys that just always seem to know what's coming next. And anytime you have a lot of foot traffic like this, you're going to find your pitchman and your demonstrators showing hot product. Now, I've run into Tim several times just walking through the exhibitors booths within the state fair and some other venues, and I know that we're both there for the exact same reason. We're just looking for some hot trend that's about to pop up. I don't care if it's a home and patio show, if it's the state fair, if it's a boat show. We're not going to look for boats. We're going to look and see what this foot traffic are buying. And you'll see a couple of ladies right here in the foreground of this picture. One's carrying a red bag, one's carrying a yellow bag. The first thing I look for when I walk into one of these events is to see what color of bags people are carrying. And look, if 1 out of 10 people you see carrying a red bag around, it should be your mission for the day to go find out what the heck the guy's selling that's passing out the red bags, because whatever it is, it's smoking hot. Just walk around, folks, and look for the crowd. Anywhere you see a big crowd of people, just like in a shopping mall, buying product, stand back and watch for a little bit. Watch the pitch man. Watch them work the people. See what they're selling the product for. And instead of making a guess and investing your money into it, look and see what people are already buying. All right? They've already done the work for you. There's an entire network of the guys. I know a lot of them personally who travel these circuits, and all they're doing every single day is looking for the next hot product. They want to have that item before the next guy does, and so they're always on the lookout for it. They're doing your and mine work for us. So just go there, watch them do their thing, and then go out and invest in that product before you guess. So another way that I like to use to uncover the upcoming trends, and this has been Tim's specialty forever, this is one of the recent tricks that I've used, is use Facebook to see what's selling. You may or may not know this, but it's true. Facebook has 380 million visitors per month only in the U.S. So just imagine, we talked about following the crowd. Go look and see where the crowd is. If the crowd's on Facebook, check it out. See what the heck they're doing on there. And here's a quick little hack that you can use right now in your browser while you're listening to me yap about finding products. Just go to Facebook and do a search for one of these few keywords here. Facebook is a great place to test market new products. And a lot of people know that because there are hundreds of millions of people visiting it every single month just in the U.S. So if you search for a keyword like get yours here or free shipping, limited supply, something like that, the only person who's going to put those type of keywords into a Facebook post are people who are selling products. Why would you put a free shipping in a post of you playing with your dog? All right? Here's what happened yesterday when I did a search on Facebook for get yours here. All right? Simple search. Here's what I found in public posts. Get yours here. All right? There's our keyword. And here is a small ring of a heart and a dog's paw. Now, I don't like dogs. I don't even own a dog. Don't even like to be around dogs. I like to look at them from a distance. But I'm not prejudiced when it comes to making money. This particular little ring here had 16,000 shares since July 1st. You know, that's not very long ago. And 6,400 comments and 70,000 engagements. That's a pretty good indication that this product is going viral. Now, I had never seen this product before until I did this simple little hack. And here, when I go to the product's website by clicking on the link, I can see that they're selling this product for $15. Now, how much do you think that $15 ring cost, Tim?
It had to be less than half a dollar.
There you go, about half a dollar. I think that's on a good day.
That's a good day. That maybe. I'm probably, still protecting myself here, saying that's probably what we'd sell it for if you brought it here for 50 cents. I'd say it'd be a little cheaper in China.
Yeah, definitely. So Facebook has already proven that this ring sells. Otherwise, people wouldn't be sharing it by the thousands with their friends. Okay? Sometimes you're just a little too early for the market. Now, I've been here. I've heard Tim talk about it. I've invested and purchased in product before because I knew it was going to be smoking hot, only to sit on that inventory for several months waiting on everyone else around me to catch up. And that's similar to what the story Tim just told you about the Baines Mania, or silly bands that he brought in. He's seen them in Japan. He knew they were going to be hot because he knows his market. He lives, sleeps, eats, and breathes physical products in the Midwest. So he knew it was going to be hot. But I'm sure he second-guessed himself a few times when his warehouse was full of silly bands. He had $1 million tied up in inventory and no one knew what they were. I can feel your pain, brother. I've been down that road myself. All right, so now we get to the next segment. This is about deciding where to go to source your products direct, okay? China, like I said before, is organized by industrial zones according to product type. Knowing where to go is the key. Remember when Tim said he wanted silicone bands, he knew exactly where to go, which city, which industrial zone, which park, which street and neighborhood to go to that were specializing in making silicone products. So take a look at this map. This is not a complete map by any sense, but this kind of gives you an idea about the way China is organized based on commodity. So if you want to buy electronics, then you have to go to the Pearl River region or Shenzhen region. This is where most electronics, mobile phone accessories, and things like that are made. All right? And all of China is laid out this way. As crazy and hectic and chaotic as China is, this is one thing that they've really done right. It's similar to here in the U.S. You can have been under a rock for the last 20 years, but everybody knows that carpet and area rugs are produced mainly in Dalton, Georgia, right? That's the same way with China, guys. If you're in the sock business, you know that the sock manufacturing capital of the U.S. is Fort Payne, Alabama, right? This is the same way with China. And being with Tim Chocolate's knowledge, when he decides to source a new product, if someone's selling electronics and they're trying to sell him from Chongqing, he knows something doesn't add up there because nobody manufactures electronics. It's a trade company. It's somebody taking advantage of the difference between the actual manufacturing price and the price that they can sell it to you for online. And here's where most people start. You've probably seen this website before. If you're in the physical products business and you have a computer, which you do because you're joining us on this training program, then you start at Alibaba. I just did a quick search here for hot selling USA. I don't know, it just came to mind. And this is what I found on Alibaba. But did you know that on Alibaba you can search for suppliers based on their region? And you'll see I highlighted and put an arrow here, Guangdong province, Shandong province, Fushan province. If your product is not being sold on Alibaba from the correct province, where you know that it should be manufactured, that should throw up a red flag to you and say, maybe this manufacturer is not really a manufacturer. Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, same difference. A lot of these folks that sell on Alibaba, maybe you're getting pretty close. Maybe you're talking to his cousin, his relation, or somebody, or a friend. He's helping somebody out and saying, here, go sell my product. Because most manufacturers, they're good at manufacturing stuff. They're not good at selling it. That's a relationship I always like directly with a manufacturer because they're good at making stuff. They're not typically good at selling stuff. So that's why when you deal directly with a manufacturer, you need to be really good and be expertise of what you're doing because you need to buy directly from a manufacturer, not from a second or third person selling it because you just don't know where you're going to go. So.
Right. So when you're using Alibaba, it's important that you must understand that you're paying retail prices. Because I am also a recovering Alibaba shopper. And I've done a lot. I've done millions of dollars in business by sourcing product on Alibaba before I knew any better. I mean, I was on Alibaba before anyone ever knew what it was. I think back in 2001 or 2002 when they first started getting started really big, I was buying product there because I had no choice. But now when I look at Alibaba and I see, for example, that ring being sold for $1, I know that I can buy that for 30 or 40 cents, but that doesn't make the Alibaba seller a bad guy, right? He's just doing what we would do. He's buying product, he's selling it at a markup. But if you know this going in, then you have a great advantage over those who don't know. And you should always sort your search results by region to make sure that you're dealing in the correct region. And search keywords like I did, best-selling or hot selling, if you're just looking for products, or even hot selling or best-selling USA, something like that. Alibaba, in my observation, has been about 99% trading companies who mark up everything. All right? Here's where we get to our next segment, knowing if a supplier is a real factory or not. So let's face it, a lot of people, just like us, are selling product at a markup. Every single time someone touches a product, whether it's myself or Tim Chocolate or even a trading company in at the Canton Fair in China. Every time somebody touches it, they need to get paid for their efforts, and the price goes up every single time. All right, so here are a couple of dead giveaways when you're doing business overseas, which I know a lot of you are or trying to, that will tell you if you're dealing with a real factory or just a trading company full of hot air. Look at their office address. Is the office address on their name card or in their email, is it an office? Is it like, 124 some street, suite number 25 on the third floor? It's probably not a factory, right? If it's in a high-rise in Shanghai or Ningbo, or is the address in an industrial zone? That's a dead giveaway right there, guys. Trading companies have office addresses. Factories have industrial type addresses. Another thing I like to do, I'll first ask them, do you have an ABC account, is what they call it, or Agricultural Bank of China. Most professional factories who are real factories and real professional manufacturers will have an ABC bank or account, which is Agricultural Bank of China. And they should be able to answer any detailed question that you can come up with about your product. If they don't know the answer or they need to go ask someone else, that should be a giveaway to you that they're probably not the real manufacturer. And are they willing to customize it? Can you make this in green? Can you make it in blue? Can you make it bigger or smaller? Can you put 2 in a package? Every single answer to those questions should be yes. If not, you're probably dealing with a trading company. If they're not willing to customize the product, or if they're quoting you in US dollars, what is it you say, Wilson? I hear it all the time. If someone's quoting you in US dollars from China, you're already paying too much. You've lost the game. Anything to add there, Tim?
Yeah, if they don't know the RMB, they're going to give you RMB price every time. When they give the US dollars, they already know where you're coming from. They know that's the price you need to hear. Every factor I deal with, a little complicated, but I got to figure it out every time. Always prices in RMB.
Yep, exactly. So here's some tactics of how to negotiate the best price or the best deal that you can get. Now, these won't necessarily work with Tim Chocolate because he knows us, right? But when we go to China, we can be anybody that we want to be. You can be as big or as small, and you can talk a big game. So don't ever start with the price. If someone came to you as a manufacturer and their only objective was to get a price out of you, what would you think? That they're serious about the business? That you might have a future with them if they're only focused on price instead of value and support and terms and things like that? So don't start with the price. Even though that's the most important thing at the end of the day, that's not what they want to hear. Develop a small relationship. I'm not saying that you have to name their children or anything like that, but develop a little bit of rapport with these factories or with these people that you're discussing business with online. Find out about the history of their company. If it's family owned, tell them a little bit about your business. I know it doesn't really matter, but the fact that you're willing to do that sets you apart from 99% of other people out there who are looking for a good deal. And let them know about your goals for your company. Here's where we are today. Here's our goals for this product 6 months from now, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years from now. Suppliers in China, from my observation, have always given me a lot more credibility when you can show them the long-term picture of what you want to do. It allows them to plan for raw materials, to plan for staffing, for manufacturing, and things like that, and always project the image of a large company. Even if you're a puny guy working out of a phone booth, on the street, you always want to look big, because in China, big is good. All right. Ask for a quote on large orders. I know that you only want 50 or 100 or 200 units, but if you come out with a request for a quote of 200 units, that makes you look like a chump, like a lemonade stand, which that's fine if that's where you're at, but you don't want to admit that coming out. I always start with a minimum of 5,000 units, which in reality is sort of a sample order in today's world, depends on the commodity. But always start big, all right? Sit on the quote. When they quote you 5,000 units, sit on that quote for a few days. Don't get all excited and answer back immediately because they gave you a good price. The Chinese manufacturers typically are very, very patient. It's part of the culture over there. They take a long time to make decisions, and they want to make sure everything's perfect before they move forward. All right? And then you come back a few days later and you blame it on what I call company policy. you know what, I like your quote, Mr. Wong, on 5,000 units, but it's always been our company policy to place a sample order first. We have to get a sample order of 500 or 100 or whatever it is, and then blame it on your boss. You always want to have a boss to answer to, because in most cases, you are not talking directly with the factory boss, which is the way business is done in China. The boss talks to the boss, the staff talks to the staff. If you're talking to anybody other than the boss, you don't want to be the boss, or you've already admitted that you're a rookie. So you go in there and you say, look, I have to go back, I have to run this by my manager and see how things go. You play the whole good cop, bad cop scenario until you get what you want. If you reveal the fact that you make the ultimate decision on this purchase, then you've lost all your power to negotiate going forward. Hopefully this makes sense for you. And then, like I said before, show the supplier your long-term plans. All right? You have to show, this is where we're going, and we want you to be on board with us. This is really, really important in making these Chinese factories feel comfortable. I don't care about it. Tim doesn't care what you're doing next year with the fidget spinner. But if you're contracting manufacturing with a factory in China, they want to know what your plans are. Even if your plans change, for some reason, it makes them feel better. All right. Anything to add to that, Tim, before I jump into the top 10 mistakes?
No, you're doing great.
All right, so here are 10 mistakes that I've identified over and over and over again. There's a trend here, folks. So I want to share this with you, these top 10 mistakes, and then we're going to jump into each one individually. Okay? This is the number one mistake. Don't use PayPal to pay for your orders in China. Don't overlook compliance issues. Always compare shipping rates, one against another. Don't ever reveal your true size unless you're a giant already, and don't depend 100% on your agent. Don't ever agree to bad payment terms, and make sure you negotiate ahead of time for defective goods. Always build a relationship with your supplier, or what we call guanxi. I'm going to show you here in a moment, and verify the supplier ahead of time. Once they have your money, it's too late, and always have a backup plan. All right, so here we talk about don't use PayPal. Real Chinese factories never use PayPal, all right? Unless you're paying them personally for something crazy, if a factory asks you to pay for an order or a sample with PayPal, that should be a major red flag, all right? Plus, it's going to add to your cost overall and make you look very unprofessional. Always use wire transfers to pay your supplier when it comes time to pay. Banks are going to charge between $15 to $50 for an international transfer, no matter the size. Talking about compliance, item number 2. If you overlook the compliance issues on your product, whether they require FDA, UL, EPA, or whatever, not only is it illegal to import the product into the U.S., it's very costly because your product could be seized. You might have to forfeit your product. I've had this happen to me a few times just by not crossing the T's and dotting the I's ahead of time. So make sure you look into this. It's not going to apply to every single product, but it does apply to some. So make sure during your due diligence process that you take care of this. It's a lot easier to do it up front than to wait until the container's sitting in the port and your customs broker says, hey, I need you to send over your UL certificate, and you don't have one. That's a big problem. Always ask whether or not they're already selling to the U.S. If they already have customers in the U.S., then they're already familiar with the compliance, and they're going to be able to put you on the right path here. Ask if the product is patented. Even though most Chinese manufacturers, especially the smaller ones, don't care about patents, they will know if there's a patent for your product in the U.S. And if there is, you better not import it unless you have a written permission from the patent owner, or you can get in a lot of trouble. And always look for registered trademarks. All right? You don't want to import something with someone else's registered trademark on it, or you could have some issues there. The number 3 mistakes that a lot of people make starting out is not comparing shipping rates. Search for forwarders and compare their rates and look for all the hidden fees that they have in there. Some forwarders will add these high fees and they're going to overcharge you, and you won't know any different because you're new to the game. Freight brokers are usually go for the highest profits available. They're comparing what you're willing to pay versus what they can buy it for, and in this case, it earns them the highest amount of profit. Not necessarily a good deal for you, but it is for them, right? And you dictate your shipping needs. Remember, this is your business. You have to make these choices. Look for visibility. One of the things that I look for before anything is I want good visibility on my shipments. When your product's on the way from China and you have tens of thousands of dollars or more invested in it, The worst feeling in the world is not knowing where it's at. You should have good visibility, if not an interactive map that shows you exactly where your freight's at any time. Good forwarders will also handle your customs clearance documentation for you. All right, number 4, don't reveal your true size unless you're already enormous. Never admit that you're new or just starting out, or this product is something brand new for you and you don't know anything about it. In China, remember, big is better. Let them assume that you're a giant, and then speak as though you're in control and that you have experience in this market. Always, always, always talk big numbers, guys. I can't stress that enough. Don't depend 100% on your agent. This is item number 5. Never assume that your purchasing agent or your purchasing manager or whatever you want to call them fully understands your needs or fully understands your product. A lot of times sourcing agents, they don't understand your product or your needs. If you tell your sourcing agent you want a fidget spinner before they became the hottest thing going, they wouldn't even know what that is or what it's used for, and they probably make fun of us for buying it. So you're in control here. This is your business. You have to remember. So don't just assume that your agent knows. All right? It's a totally different culture, totally foreign to them in a lot of cases. Sourcing agents are always offered commissions. There's no way around this. Now, your sourcing agent may or may not accept a commission depending on what you've trained them to do, but every single manufacturer, every seller of goods in China, is just the way China works. They're going to offer your agent a commission for making the deal go through. There's no way around that, so keep that in mind. You set the rules, all right? It's up to you to train the agent what's right and what's wrong and what you're willing to accept. Remember, you're signing the checks. This is your business, guys. Number 6, don't use bad payment terms. Never pay 100% upfront for any order that you're buying in China. A 30% deposit at the most and the balance on the bill of lading is a good start. Tim has a lot of tricks that he can show you on how you can get the factory to ship this product up front and maybe get net 30 or net 60 terms. Never assume all the risk of the order. You know, the factory has to have some skin in the game. Otherwise, there was no incentive for them to deliver the order on time and to deliver good quality. Don't forget to ask for warranty or spare parts and negotiate how to apply the warranty. All right, number 7, dealing with factory defects. Don't assume that you can ship your defective product back to China. It's very, very expensive, and in most cases, shipping defective goods into China is even illegal. You have to work this out before you pay for the order. Or what I like to do is find a mutual outlet in the U.S., if it's possible. Negotiate. Yes, Tim?
No, you're good. Go ahead. I was just elaborating on that, but it gets in a lot of detail, and a lot of its relationship with these factories. But just like Shawn says, is about working with the factories and having an unprecedented situation. But it goes on for quite a while because everybody's situation is different. So we keep going.
Right. Okay. So negotiate this ahead of time, folks, and ask for things like spare parts for your order, or even a percentage of extra goods with each order to make up for the defects, because you will have defects. All right. It's just a question of how many. Be fair and honest when you're reporting these defects, and what I like to do is report those monthly so that the factory can see if their defect rate is getting better or worse. Or you can also hire a third-party quality controller, QC people. All right, the number 8 problem or mistake I see importers making in the beginning is never treat your supplier as a commodity. Instead, deal with them on a more personal level. Build that personal relationship with your suppliers and tap into his or her guanxi. This is their network. This is their circle of influence in the business community. Do each other favors. If they need something on this side of the world, take care of it for them, and don't be afraid to ask them to maybe verify another supplier for you or check on a shipment, see if things are going well. Get to know them and their families. Number 9, verify your suppliers. Do a little bit of research up front, or ask a friend if you already have one in China to verify that your supplier is who they say they are and that they're willing to deliver like they promised. Okay, cross-reference suppliers on Alibaba and other websites like Made in China or EC21, and make sure that all of their details are congruent. Make sure that they're using the same business name, the same address, the same sales manager, so on. If not, that could be a problem hidden. Search their name on Baidu. That's the Chinese version of Google, okay? Just see what comes up. Kind of like in the U.S., you search a name on Google, you may come up with ripoffreport.com or something like that. Just do a little search ahead of time. It's much, much easier, folks, to do this now versus when your container is lost somewhere and the factory area has your money and you don't know what to do. Look up their address. Remember, I said check the address, see if it's an office. Is it a suite number on the 12th floor of a high-rise, or is it in the industrial zone? You can pull it up on Google Earth and see. If it's downtown Indianapolis, it's probably not a factory. If it's on the circle, right? But if it's out in an industrial park, a nice big building, it's probably a factory. And verify banking details. If they're asking you to send payment to a personal account, that should be a red flag as well. Finally, we come to number 10. Have a supplier backup plan. You should always have more than one source so you're not giving control to just one supplier. You can also always be checking the price one against another because as manufacturing changes, the price should be coming down. As more and more competitive factories bring that product online, it should drive the price down. As raw material prices change, the price should change with the manufacturing. If you're only dealing with one supplier or one factory, you're never going to know if that change takes place because you're out of tune with it. So always have more than one. And remember, mistakes can happen anywhere in the supply chain, whether it's in manufacturing, packaging, shipping, importing, delivery, or even the quality control after delivery. Always have a plan B and do a few small orders with that plan B so at least you have a relationship with them. And now, that brings us to the next one. Tim, anything you want to add to the last 10 items?
No, you did great, because if I go over them in detail, I need about 4 more hours.
Yeah, okay. Well, we don't have 4 more hours, so we'll save that for the email.
Yeah, good.
All right, making that first big trip to China. Now, I can rewind back several years ago when I made my first trip to China. I hate to admit this, but my very first trip to China, I was there for about 14 days. I went to the Canton Fair, like 2 different segments of it, and I came back with no orders. I didn't place one single order for any product over there. That was embarrassing. I found that going to places like Canton Fair or just running around China trying to get a feel for business, not having any contacts, not knowing anyone, not knowing where to go or who to talk to, how to do business in China, it was put me at a very big disadvantage because I didn't know how to do business. I came home empty-handed. Now, I went back, obviously, and made a few changes, made a few contacts, hired somebody to help me, and I did better. But my first trip to China was a disaster because I didn't have any contacts. Have you ever heard of a concept called guanxi? Maybe not, but if you were to look it up online, the definition is something along the lines of the basic dynamic and personalized networks of influence. This is very, very important in Chinese, but that's a pretty boring definition, right? Here's where I like to look at it. Guanxi is the very fabric of Chinese society. Your guanxi determines who you are and what you can do. It's a very intricate system of social networks and influential relationships which facilitates business and other dealings. There's a reason why Tim Chocolate and I, who have been friends and friendly competitors for several years on different items, can come together and join forces to bring you this information, right? It's guanxi. In the U.S. and the Western world, we call this our network. What makes China tick? It's guanxi. You can do everything, all right? If you have the right connections in China, you can do it all from getting a seat in an overbooked restaurant to working with government officials in a more, effective way. Smell what I'm stepping in there?
Yep.
How does that relate to your business? Well, if you've ever wondered why you've had such a hard time in the past working with suppliers in China, like I did on my first trip, it's because you haven't developed a guanxi. You don't have a relationship with them. They don't know you. They don't care about you or your business, and they don't owe you anything. If you were plugged in directly to my guanxi, to Tim's guanxi, wouldn't that launch your sourcing efforts far behind others who don't have this advantage? It's a good question, right? Let me ask you this. Would you agree that the ultimate shortcut to product sourcing is to work face-to-face with suppliers? I think so. What if we could hold your hand and show you exactly how to deal with real factories who are willing to work with you to customize your very own private label product? the way you want it, the color you want it, the packaging you want, the brand that you want. What if we could take all the guesswork out of buying direct in China and make it easy, safe, and comfortable for you? Would you agree that if you could save 40% or more on your current product line and have direct access to a real factory for support, that would have a huge and positive impact on your business? I think the answer is obvious here. This is what we're offering, folks. If you're really, truly serious about growing your business, then come to China with us. You can join Wilson and myself in September. We host, like I said earlier, a world-class sourcing trip to China for physical products. It is the original China sourcing trip for physical products, and like nothing other. We've held the hands of hundreds of physical product sellers just like you and literally spoon-fed them with the experience and tactics that we've developed. We've seen more breakthroughs than anyone I know of in pricing, customization, bundling, and payment terms. One of our customers recently came to Yiwu with us, and he wrote 33 purchase orders for 76 new products. And this was his very first trip to China. Remember, my first trip to China, 14 days, a couple episodes of food poisoning. That was my fault. No orders. Lots of wasted time and stress. Another one of these recent clients went from paying $15 for an imported product in New York to paying less than $1.50 for the exact same product, probably from the same supplier. And a few weeks ago, we had over 230 people, and they sourced on average 21 new products per person. That's nothing short of amazing. In fact, this gentleman right here, he's able to find a product that he was currently sourcing for 25 to 45% cheaper. This is something this gentleman was already selling successfully. He came to China with us and saved a ton of money on an existing product line. Here are the numbers from our recent trip. Day 1, day 2, day 3, a total 4,893 new products sourced. That is amazing. Wilson was there. I was there. We had several mentors there. It was one of the best trips ever. That's the one I showed you the photo of earlier. This is a very, very unique and educational trip. We always sell out all the available spots for obvious reasons, and it's worth every single penny. Tim Chocolate right here today, Opportunity Buys, he wants to virtually guarantee your success when you start buying direct in China. Tim has negotiated a very special offer only for OBI clients and only for those of you who are willing to listen here. If you're serious about sourcing direct, you absolutely can't lose. We sell the trip for $6,000, which is pretty laughable amount if you think about the money and the breakthroughs that people discover, but I understand it's a significant chunk of money, especially when you don't know what you're getting into. You can see it here at ChinaBusters.com. The trip sells for $6,000, and it does very well. I've been talking to Tim about this for a long time, and he wants to get involved, folks, so you're in a very unique situation right now. As a customer of Tim Chocolate and Opportunity Buys, you won't have to pay anything close to that. And believe me, when people show up in China, it's a hard sell. I'm not going to lie. It's very, very difficult to get people to commit to paying money to fly to the other side of the world, to the most foreign of foreign countries, and be completely uncomfortable for a few days to better themselves. But I can assure you that once people arrive on the ground in China and they're seeing the things that I'm showing you here right now, they would pay almost anything to make the trip after the fact. Here's the promise that we made in the email. Turn $500 into $5,000. This is what it's all about. Tim has arranged to provide you with a $5,000 scholarship good toward this trip. He only asks that you do good in the world with your profits. I don't think it's too much to ask that if you do qualify for this scholarship, that you're going to promise us, we'll take your word for it, within 90 days of attending this trip, you're going to take $500 out of your profits and donate that to your favorite charity. I don't know how much more special that offer can be. Here's more good news. Tim Chocolate's going to join us. He's going to be on site in China with Wilson and myself and all of our staff with his team to assist you with all your sourcing needs. Tim's never done this before. He's been a closed book ever since I've known him. You've known him. You know that it's true. If you receive this special scholarship, you're going to get all the exact same benefits of the folks that are around you who paid the full price of $6,000. That's pretty cool, right? Here's where we're going, guys. We're going to Yiwu, China. This is what I call the best kept secret in all of China. It is known as the small commodities capital of the world. In Yiwu, you're going to find over 80,000 direct suppliers. Actually, it's more like 100,000. There are 80,000 booths and 100,000 suppliers. It's open all year. Very easy to do business with. If you're like me and you tried to buy from manufacturers in the U.S. or some of these trade shows in the U.S., you try to place an order, you're up against something I call the sales prevention department. It's like these people go out of their way not to take your money. If you're with me in China and you're following the strategy and the game plan, you're going to find it so easy to do business in China that you're going to be addicted. You're going to have to go back every year to source more product. Yiwu is the best place in the entire world to buy, and it's focused on small volume buyers, just like us. This means that you can purchase as little as 1 carton of goods. Think about that. Here's one of our customers from September 2016. He wrote 33 purchase orders, like I told you, for 76 products. He got products under $1 that he can easily sell for $15 to $20 on Amazon. These are his words. Products for $75, that'll be a $400 product on Amazon. Right? The bottom line, he says, there's an entire gamut of quality from junk to phenomenal quality, and it's just a matter of finding it. Yiwu has it all. The Yiwu Trade City, you can buy from 1 piece for a sample to 10,000 pieces for an order. Most suppliers at other trade fairs, they simply cannot facilitate smaller orders because of the manufacturing MOQ, which is minimum order quantity. Yiwu can be a cash and carry. You can pay for your order and walk out the door with it. Or you can place purchase orders for contract manufacturing and shipment later. The entire area, folks, is focused on international trade. Since 1600, Yiwu has been the go-to place for trading. Look it up. It started as a place for farmers to trade chicken feathers as raw fertilizer. It's crazy how it started. The market's divided into 5 unique districts that cover 44 million square feet. There are 80,000 wholesale booths, 100,000 suppliers or more, and 4 million kinds of products represented there. There are 40 different industries and 2,000 different categories. Think about it. If you can't find something in China and Yiwu in the small commodities market, then you might be blind. So you might be asking yourself, can I go on my own? Of course you can. Although China is a communist country, you're free to come and go if you'd like. You can go on your own, and actually we suggest it. If that's the only option that you have, you absolutely should make the trip. Or you can come with us and get that handheld experience and the ready-made guanxi. You can be mentored by the veterans like myself and Tim and Wilson that are already in this business. You meet lots of other sellers just like yourself. And think about it. If you're on the fence, maybe you feel like you're not able to travel, but you have someone else coming up in your business that you're ready to pass the torch, this could be the perfect gift for that young person or student interested in international trade. Here's another testimonial. Christina says it's not just the supplier. She'll be in contact with so many other sellers, with Will, Sean's team, your guanxi, and your ability to make things happen for your business will grow exponentially with every hour you spend in China. Here's what you get if you join us, folks. Bear with me here, we're almost done. You get access to top travel agents specializing in China travel at the best prices. These are unpublished fares, folks, that are not available to you and I. You get transportation to and from the airport upon arrival. You get reservations in a brand new 5-star hotel made for you with Western amenities and Western food. Breakfast is included in your stay. You get a personal introduction to all my service providers, from sourcing agents, export agents, customs broker for clearance services. You'll get freight forwarders and consolidators on site willing to meet with you and help you further your importing business. You get China-based packaging and prep services for your products. You're also going to have your very own personal translator assigned to you for the entire trip. This will also serve as your guide to the marketplace. You're going to get access to the world's largest small commodities market with over 100,000 suppliers of physical products ready and willing to do business with you. You get comprehensive pre-trip digital training with Wilson and myself, and that's going to prepare you for the experience. These are video training sessions that you're going to watch before you make the trip to get you in the right mindset, to get you equipped with the right tools, to understand what you're putting yourself into and how to make the best situation out of it, how to be the most successful in your trip, what to do, what not to do, and so forth. You're going to start with a meet and greet to introduce you to your personal translator on the first day, and then you're going to have 3 morning training sessions to go over your daily game plan for sourcing and negotiating. This is all of our best practices and tactics we're going to share with you on a daily basis. You get 3 evening breakout sessions with a smaller group and one of our many mentors who've made the trip a few times to help you clear things up and answer questions. You're also going to get 3 evening debriefing sessions with myself and Wilson, and we're going to go over the day's events and keep you moving in the right direction. That's not all. It's not all work either. On the 4th day, we're going to take you on a special touristic activity. You're going to get to experience China and some of the Chinese culture, plus it's a great networking opportunity for other sellers. And then once you get home and you're trying to figure out what to do, we're going to give you detailed post-trip training online. It's going to show you exactly what to do after your return and how to continue the conversation with your suppliers. This is excellent networking opportunity for all sellers here, folks. Here's your schedule. The first day, you arrive on September 14th, 8 p.m. at the hotel. This is going to be your meet and greet where you're going to get your personal translator. On the first day of sourcing, September 15th, from 8 to 9 a.m., we're going to brief you and prepare you to how to get the most out of the marketplace, just like I promised. From 9 to 5, you and your translator are going to run around the marketplace finding and sourcing products. Every night from 7 to 8, you're going to meet with your mentor in a small group, all right? This is where you're going to really dig in, get into the details, listen to the other attendees' war stories, help each other. This is a phenomenal experience, folks. And then from 8 to 9, this is a group meeting led by myself and Wilson. We're going to recap the day and how to optimize. The second day, 16th, looks just like the first, and the third day on the 17th is the same. And then, like I said, you're going to get that final 4th day, you're going to go on a touristic activity as a group and learn about the Chinese culture and see the area so you don't feel like you didn't get any vacation out of this. Here's how to apply to join us. You can go to ChinaBusters.com if you don't want to apply for the Tim Chocolate Scholarship, and you can pay full price just like everyone else, or you can apply for the $5,000 scholarship right now at ChinaBusters.com/Tim. You will get immediate access to our special secret travel agent, so you start booking your trip. You'll get the comprehensive pre-trip training videos right away, so you can start devouring all that information, and other member benefits. Here's a view of just one of the 5 districts from our hotel. The hotel is literally right across the street from District 1 in the small commodities capital of the world. There is no way, folks, in the entire 3 days that you spend there that you could even attempt to cover every square foot of only one district, and there's 5 of these. All right, we're talking massive, massive. I've been all around the world. I've been to trade shows. I've been sourcing product for a long time from several countries, and I've never seen anything as awesome as this market. Here again is the photo from our recent trip in June. It's amazing. Everybody bought products. Everyone had a success story. Everyone learned something. We placed them in an environment that allowed them to grow their business exponentially like no other. Here are a few other photos from the trip. There's one of the clients walking with his translator through the marketplace. It's amazing the opportunity that you discover here, folks. Wilson, help me explain this, buddy.
Well, you know, Shawn, you've done a great job explaining it already. I mean, the bottom line is, if I had to describe it in one sentence, in a couple of words, it's life-changing. It has truly been life-changing for attendees. I mean, the last couple of times we've had, or the last time we had, I don't know, 230 people there with us, something like that, and I received no less than 50 hugs throughout the trip, because people were just so emotional about how amazing this was for their business, how incredible of a change it will make in their lives. And people that have paid $6,000 to come with us think that this is an amazing, incredible deal, and it's worth every penny and more, and they will recover that in quickly in the deals that they're going to make. Like people that were already sourcing products and paying $2 or $3 for products now are paying 50, 60 cents for the same exact product. You can do the math. If you save, $1.50 on every product, and you buy 1,000 units over a certain period of time, how much money are you saving? That's $1,500 just on that one little product. So that alone is is enough to make up the cost of the trip. But when you throw in this deal that Tim has worked out with us, it is an absolute no-brainer. Imagine being taken to China, red carpet treatment all around. You arrive in China, we pick you up at the airport and take you to the hotel. The hotel is a 5-star situation, 5-star rating. It's a brand new Marriott. It opened last year. It is the most incredible Marriott hotel I've ever been to. We have a special deal negotiated on the hotel for you with breakfast included and free internet access and so on. You're going to get world-class training from Shawn and from myself. You're going to get hand-holding help from mentors. These are people that have been on the trip before, have had tremendous success, and they want to come back and share the love. They want to share their experiences with customers that are just coming in. So, and then we want you to do some good in the world too. We want you to pass this forward, right? We're going to give you a $5,000 scholarship to come attend this trip, which means it's only going to cost you $1,000 instead of the $6,000. You're going to get all of the exact same things that people that get $6,000 that pay $6,000 get, including your personal translator. We're literally going to glue a translator to your hip, figuratively speaking, and you're going to have the translator along with you for the entire time you're there to make sure you're getting your point across to the sellers and so on. You're going to get the support from us, from Shawn and myself, and from Tim, who's going to be there. Tim sent one of his staff last time, and now he's going by himself to see you, to help you, to answer your questions as well. So I really hope that you join us. If you have any questions, just let us know. We're here answering questions. Angela asks about accessibility. Angela, we can arrange for electric scooters. You can rent them for a small fee every day. There is really no reason for anybody not to go. I will tell you one other thing. I've been to China several times. China can be an intimidating place. It really can. And if you think that if you have any worries about going to China, you should be, because I've been to over 20 countries, 22, 23 countries, something like that in the world, and China is absolutely the most foreign place. But I'll also tell you one other thing. The way that we have run this trip several times already, and will continue to run it, you will almost, other than being in the market, not being able to speak the language, but you have a translator there to translate your every word if you wish. Other than that, you're going to feel like you're at home, because the Marriott hotel we've selected, it's going to feel like home. It's going to totally feel like you are in the U.S. in just some big city in the U.S. And it's just, it's the most westernized experience we could possibly have made for you. There's no limitations on how you can import from China. You can import as much as you want. Shawn imports 20 or 30 containers a month. I don't know how many containers you import from China every month, Tim, but I know it's a lot. So, no problem. So, quality water, safe food. We only drink bottled water there. We only, eat food at the hotel. It's Western food. It's nice and clean. I've been sick in China before, never at this Marriott, and I've gone there 4 or 5 times now. And here's the other thing we give you. Even if you've never traveled outside the country in your life, we've made even the trip planning process a no-brainer for you. because I know if you haven't traveled before, traveling to a place like China can be very intimidating. The the problems that you would normally encounter, we've taken care of. I mean, we even tell you how to pack your bag. We tell you how to use your cell phone in China. We tell you how, how much money to bring and how to exchange currency. We teach you all of that in pre-trip training, which are videos we've recorded and are going to be in a members area for you to watch at your own leisure before the trip, so that you can be fully prepared. We prepare you on negotiation tactics. We prepare you on everything so that when you are there, you're going to make the most out of the days you are in China and just hitting the ground running, sourcing products like all those other customers who have come with us before have done. We will stop at nothing to make sure that you're successful. And Tim is going to be there doing exactly the same thing. So Tim has shared with you through Shawn here today the secrets of how his business has run for decades now. And he's extending this opportunity to you to ensure that you can do the same. Those fidget spinners, you don't have to pay $2 for them. Fidget spinners aren't the thing to do anymore. But the next product, you won't have to pay $2. You can pay 50 cents. You can pay 30 cents, 35 cents, right? Not only that, but you can be up and running on the hottest opportunity quickly. That is what we are going to provide for you. Back to you, Shawn.
All right. I think at this time it would be beneficial for us to let Tim give his ideas about the Yiwu marketplace, his discoveries there in the past and experiences on importing, because honestly, when it comes to doing business in China, my hat's off to Tim. He has 10 years experience on me. He's imported a lot of different products. So Tim, if you don't mind, speak a little bit to the market in Yiwu and the opportunity there as far as you're concerned.
Okay. First of all, I want to, a couple of folks have asked me, why, when I originally started about this idea of helping people, and I kept having customers the last couple of years, hey, I want to buy from China, I want to, buy my own this merchandise, I want to buy my own item. And I have really been trying to figure out how to do this for the last couple of years. And the more I've talked to Shawn and Wilson, it's like I cannot do this alone to do a good job. I'm a merchandising guy. I've been going to China for over 30 years. I'm importing product. I know everything on that side of the fence to teach you, to help you. But as far as an organized person, as far as organized going over there and saying to do all this for 100, 200 people and help with all this, that was the limit. That's what kept me away from doing this, to help people say, how do I do it? And that's why I partnered with Shawn and Wilson, because they've already built this plan, they've already designed it, and it's perfect. And if anybody knows Jai, she's one of the girls that works for me. She's from China and been with me for a very long time. She went to the last meeting over there, and all I can say is, wow. She came back and very, very much like excited. Wow, we can do this. We can help these people, but we need Shawn and Wilson's help. So I'm just throwing that in for a little bit for you to know why we're partnering with them, because they're great. They're organizations. Like I said, China's a big country. There's a lot to do, but yet this is like having your own personal routine person that's going to take you through all the structures of what you need to do, so there's not a worry there. So go right into the merchandising part. Yiwu is one of the largest markets to go to. Now, I travel all over China. That's another part. How do I take 100 people, 200 people, 10 people all over China? That's what I do. I go to all these different provinces. I go to these different areas. So to go to Yiwu, to make this the first trip to China, is the best trip to China, because you get the experience, you get the knowledge, you get to meet factories, you get to meet everybody in one place for a short period of time. My average trip to China is minimum of 10 to 14 days, because a lot of times it's just traveling all over China. That's going to be probably step 2 or your next stage, to say, hey, I want to go to this province area. I want to go to this area. That's another ball game of plan B. The best opportunity right now to go to Yiwu to capture 99, if not 100% of anything and everything you want to find is in that area. And it's just amazing and incredible, and it's a great start. It's where, if I mention 20 wholesalers, and I don't want to particularly mention any of these wholesalers, but I'm going to say one's in Louisville, one's in North Carolina, 100% of their product, not 10%, not 20%, a company in Louisville that's a wholesale company, 100% of their product comes from the Yiwu area. If you go to a wholesale company and they're stocking thousands of items, how can you import thousands of items by the container? That's why they go to Yiwu, because they can buy 10 boxes, 20 boxes, 1 box. They can buy these things in quantity. Now, when we buy a candle warmer, or we buy a blanket, or we buy an oil burner, I'm dealing directly with the factory in that Providence area. But we're spending a lot of money, a lot of, on that part. Now, you can still do the same thing, but for the first step to go to Yiwu, you're going to meet the candle warmer factory. You're going to meet the factory that makes the oil burner. You're going to meet the factory that makes the toys. It's the easiest, fastest way in a 5-day period to see 80,000 suppliers. And also, it's what, I bet you, I went to China probably 10 times before I ever knew about Yiwu. When I went to Yiwu, I thought it was my first trip to China. I was so overwhelmed. It was like, oh my gosh, I just found the jackpot. Oh my goodness. If you probably remember, probably the early 2000s, around 2004, when we first started going to Yiwu, when we started carrying thousands of items, that's when we went to Yiwu. Well, we could bring containers in with, 100 different toys, fiber optic lands, all these different products that we would find there that we could buy variety. But if you look at our base business today, it's 5 programs that come directly from factories, but the variety comes from all the factories all over. And there's no way I can drive or fly into that one part of China that makes the toys and spend there to go buy 1 container of toys. I go to Yiwu and spend 3 or 4 days and meet all these factories in that one area and do our business for the variety of items, for 80% of our merchandise. And the old 20-80% rule, that 20% is the volume of what we sell is right, but 80% is where the variety comes from, and that's the Yiwu area. So very passionate about that, and this is where, for a starting point of anybody to be able to go to this area with, you're basically your hands being held with what Wilson and Shawn has put together, is just an incredible deal. When I look at this, and I've been in the business for many, many years and do this, if someone's been in the business and they have had clients go, and if you're in the business, I say, hey, if you think you know it all and you've learned it all, I can teach you a lot and tell you a lot, but I'm still learning myself every day, and I've learned a tremendous amount of stuff from these guys just in the last year or two, and going to these events is just an incredible thing. So go ahead, Shawn.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't realize that you had traveled the same road that I traveled, Tim, because we haven't had this conversation, but I had also made several trips to China before I discovered Yiwu. For the life of me, I can't figure out why they don't do a better job of marketing it, but just like you, Tim, when I first arrived, I threatened to move there. I said, this is it. I found the holy grail of sourcing, because everybody was willing to do business with me. Everybody was willing to negotiate lower quantities. First time I went there, I shipped a 20-foot container, which is a smaller container, from Yiwu, and there must have been 50 different products in that one container. I got so bored of waiting on it, I think I actually gave the container to my brother to sell at his little liquidation store, and I went back over there and bought a bunch more product. I was just in love with buying and finding deals and negotiating and doing things like that. And it was a unique time in my life, because I just started into doing direct response marketing, which is the advertising I was speaking about earlier. And so what I would do was focus on one hot product and then advertise that with these little display ads all over the U.S. And what I found, that enabled me to broadcast my message everywhere. And Yiwu was my secret little honey hole I didn't want to share with anyone. I'm sure you can relate, Tim. When you first found it, you were like, wow, I hope my competitors never find this place, because it literally has everything. And, as you expand your importing empire and start getting better, you're going to go, like Tim said, to other provinces, and you're going to deal direct with factories within these industrial zones that specialize in your category. But everything starts in Yiwu. If you've been to China and you've never been to Yiwu, even if you don't go with us, you absolutely must make the trip over there. It is, like I said, the best kept secret. Back in those days, I had this mentality, like I said, I did not want my competitors to find Yiwu. So we would come up with code names, and we would call it things like, the flea market, or, that place, within my internal circles, because I was scared to death people were going to find out about it. And then, later on in life, I discovered that the easiest and most fulfilling way for us to expand and grow as humans is to share the knowledge that we have with others and watch others grow and get satisfaction out of seeing people use the knowledge that we've already been blessed with to better their own lives and their business. And to me, that's rewarding, and I'd love to share. If I sound passionate about it, it's because I really am, and I love to watch folks like you come over there and be exposed to that and be overwhelmed. It's the proverbial drink from a fire hydrant scenario, and we know that's going to happen to you. We prepare you for that. We know that when you show up in China the first day, you're going to feel like you can conquer the world, and then you're going to come back that night and you're going to look like, just starry-eyed, confused, want to go home with your tail between your legs because you're literally overwhelmed with opportunity and you just don't know what to do. And then we just take your head off and shake all the BS out of it for the night, and we fill it up with all the knowledge that you need to tackle the next day, and we kick you in the rear and send you back into the market. And the next day, something happens. A switch is made, and you come back with purchase orders. You're excited. You've broken the ice. You've created a few deals. And by day 3, guys, you're going to be a professional. You're going to know 90% of what I know about doing business in China by day 3. And we're going to equip you with enough contacts, enough guanxi, enough tools, information, and talent that you won't even think twice about making that trip on your own. You won't even need us anymore. You're going to go over there and be just as productive, if not more so, on your own, based on all the tools that we equip you with and the people that we introduce you to. That you're going to do it on your own over and over and over again. I hope that you share the opportunity with others, unlike myself in my younger days. Take as many people, introduce as many people as you possibly can, because I'm telling you, it feels good when you change someone's life and you take them from making a little bit of money in a business they've been doing for 10, 15, or 20 years to making a small fortune almost overnight just from the breakthroughs that they discover in Yiwu. To me, that's payment enough. That's why I'm so excited to offer this special opportunity to you through Tim. I'm glad that he stepped up and decided to do this and forego any profits that we might make from the trip. And basically, the $1,000, guys, it covers our cost, maybe. It covers our cost of bringing this opportunity to you. So if you're serious about physical products and you want to take it to the next level, you are insane if you don't jump on this. I mean, it only takes one excuse. It only takes one. Oh, I don't like the water, can't travel, or, whatever. It's my brother's birthday. Forget it. It only takes one excuse, folks, not to act on the information. And we shared enough details with you today that you should be able to take what you've learned over the last 90 minutes and apply that to your business and be light years ahead of your competitors already. But if you're serious about taking the next step and you want to do something about this information, this is it, guys. This is not going to happen again. I mean, we're not going to give this away again. I mean, I don't like to be away from my family for a whole week, and not make any money at it. So jump on board if you're even thinking about it. Forget about it. You're an adult. It's your business, right? Jump in. If you want to make it happen, you and I both know that you can do it. You know who I'm talking to. You know who you are. Get off the fence and take a leap here. If you want to see extraordinary results, folks, you have to be willing to do something extraordinary. And most people are not willing to do this. I told you early on, it's a tough sell. Give me $6,000 and travel 12,000 miles for 24 hours and spend 5 days doing something that you're totally uncomfortable with. That's a tough sell. But I promise you this, after you spend 3 or 4 days with us in China and you're working on your business, you won't be able to thank me enough. You're going to feel guilty when you go home because you didn't pay enough for it, but that's okay. We're all in this together. The way I look at it, the more I help you, the more we help everyone, and that's really the reason why I do this. Will?
Yeah, and thank you, Tim, for arranging this and for, helping people make a difference in the world, because I always like to say, and you hear me say this in China, success is not just about you. Yes, we as individuals want to be successful, but success is about those that are around us, our families, our friends, our communities, our churches, and the causes that we believe in. So you owe it to your environment to be successful, and this is why Tim, who also believes the same type of thing, is here and has arranged for this scholarship for you. So I just urge you to go to ChinaBusters.com/Tim and apply for a scholarship. It is a simple application. It's going to take you less than 2 minutes to fill it out, and we will contact you and let you know if you've qualified for the scholarship and get you going. So with that, Shawn, I'm out. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I hope you learned a lot, and I look forward to seeing you in China.
All right. So, Tim, any final departing words before we call it a day, buddy?
No, we've covered a lot, and without keeping everybody here all day, we'll continue this, and like I said, sign up, and we'll just go from there.
Yep, sounds good. Hey, folks, it's Shawn Hart from this end on behalf of Tim Chocolate and Opportunity Buys in Indianapolis. Thank you for hanging out with us this afternoon. I hope you've learned a lot. I hope you apply what you've learned, and I hope to see you in China, honestly. So take care, everyone. God bless you all. See you, Tim.
Thank you. Good night.